So as we all know, LeBron James just concluded his 15th season in the NBA, and my goodness, it was a doozy one. With all of the trades and acquisitions this season, it made it extremely difficult for anyone on that team to have any common ground on what exactly their expectations needed to be moving forward during that season, which is why it was impressive that they were able to make it to the finals this year. However, getting swept in the NBA Finals by the Golden State Warriors is not a good look for the organization, especially if they have any hopes of keeping LeBron as he is entering free agency this year. And before I move on any further, because I don't necessarily know when I'm going to make a video about the Golden State Warriors, I do want to congratulate the Warriors for winning another championship this season. And I know some people are upset at the Warriors, and that is another video for another day. However, congratulations to the Golden State Warriors, and congratulations to Kevin Durant for winning another Finals MVP. But with all of that being said, more importantly, we have to focus on what exactly LeBron James will do next this upcoming offseason. And as we all know, LeBron James, he has gone into free agency before, and so this isn't anything new for LeBron in his career. However, this year is extremely special due to the circumstances that LeBron James is in, which would lead us down a path of teams that some people are anticipating for LeBron to join this offseason, while also leading us down a path of teams that some people may be overlooking in his selection this upcoming offseason. But before we get ahead of ourselves, we must first understand what LeBron is looking for in these teams, because once we understand what LeBron is holding to a level of importance, it will immediately eliminate a lot of teams in the NBA. And unfortunately for my rambunctious New York Knicks fans, this is where you fall off in the video. So for one, LeBron has been extremely clear that his family will play a pretty huge role in his decision. Next up is winning a championship. This is fairly obvious, and even though he may not win a championship, at least giving him hope and raising the odds of making the finals and competing is something he must be looking forward to. Also, the team that he joins must be a good fit for him on the roster, which may not be that important due to LeBron's versatility. But finally, and probably the aspect that so many people are constantly overlooking, is the financial end of it. As LeBron has said multiple times that he will not take a massive pay cut like he did in Miami, because he feels like it's not the burden of the player to sacrifice financially so the organization can fully function. That is the role and the job of the general manager and the owner to make those decisions. So LeBron taking a pay cut, or at least a massive pay cut, is definitely out of the question. Now, with all that being said, the list of teams that LeBron will realistically join has been trimmed all the way down to only 6 teams. And so with the teams being trimmed down to only a list of 6, what I've decided to do is rank them from least likely to most likely. And my first 2 teams on this list that are least likely, that would probably throw you by surprise, are the San Antonio Spurs and the Houston Rockets. Now, I know for a fact people are going to sit here and tell me, Lo, what are you talking about? Both teams, they give LeBron a really good chance to win a championship, which is true. And quite frankly, both teams, they actually check off a lot of things that might be on LeBron's list of things that he's looking for when it comes to these organizations. Both teams, in my opinion, give LeBron a really good chance to win, as both of those teams made it way deeper than I think a lot of people anticipated due to the circumstances that they were in. Also, in my opinion, they both provide a pretty good fit for the roster, even though I'm still a little bit questionable when it comes to LeBron playing on a team with James Harden and Chris Paul, being coached by Mike D'Antoni. And both teams, they do provide a space on the organization for LeBron to not just stay there for an extended period of time, as you have Kawhi Leonard and James Harden who are in their prime, which will extend the opportunity for the team to win while LeBron is participating on the roster. But also, it does extend the opportunity of greatness so far to the point where even as LeBron retires, they still should be a relevant team. The only thing that would really hold LeBron back from joining the roster is the financial aspect of it, a part that many people consistently overlook. When it comes to the financial aspect of it, due to the fact that LeBron James will not be taking a massive pay cut, it is almost impossible for either organizations to add LeBron to their roster without them making any significant changes, as both organizations, before they even add LeBron to the roster or even sign back some of their key pieces to their team, are already so high up in salary, and we're talking about over $80 million, that again, it's almost impossible. When it comes to the Houston Rockets, we're talking about an organization that has already committed over $80 million to the salary cap this upcoming season without adding back Chris Paul, Clint Capella, Joe Johnson, Gerald Green, and again, we're still talking about adding LeBron to their roster as well. More than likely, what they're going to have to do is do a sign and trade with Ryan Anderson or Eric Gordon, if not both, to provide enough space to bring on LeBron James with his max contract. And even then, if you end up moving both Ryan Anderson, who quite frankly didn't really do much in the postseason, but definitely Eric Gordon, if you end up moving Ryan Anderson and Eric Gordon, then you thus are cutting into your bench depth. And then on the flip side, you have the San Antonio Spurs, who more than likely will have to move Pau Gasol and or Patty Mills. But even if you want to be optimistic and claim that the bench depth will not play that big of a role, you still have to figure out a team that will be dumb enough, and I don't think there's that many teams that are dumb enough to take on Ryan Anderson in his contract or Pau Gasol in his contract. And so even though, yes, it is technically possible for LeBron to go to the Houston Rockets or the San Antonio Spurs, you're going to have to convince either LeBron to leave $10 to $15 million on the table, or you would have to find a team that's dumb enough to take on Ryan Anderson and Pau Gasol's contract, in which, quite frankly, I don't really think either one of those options are really that possible. Which thus leads us to the two next teams, the Los Angeles Lakers and the Philadelphia 76ers. I know, I'm a Laker fan. I know you're going to call me a Laker fanboy. That's fine. But if you're going to be that optimistic about some team trading for Ryan Anderson and taking on his contract or Pau Gasol, then I don't know why you can't be that optimistic about Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, and Kyle Kuzma developing into the players that they needed to develop in, so LeBron has an opportunity to win a championship with the Los Angeles Lakers. Because outside of that reasoning, and trust me when I say it's very rational, but outside of that reasoning of him not being able to win a championship with the Lakers, everything else the Los Angeles Lakers are able to provide to LeBron, we're talking about him receiving the money that he's supposed to receive, him going to a team that will be relevant for the next 3 to 4 or 5 years moving down the line, and also him being on a team that I quite frankly believe that his family wouldn't mind moving to. And also keep in mind the Los Angeles Lakers still have enough money to sign another max contract player to the team. So again, if you're that optimistic about somebody trading for Ryan Anderson, I don't know why you think it's that far-fetched for LeBron and Paul George to go to the Los Angeles Lakers. Then on the flip side, we have the Philadelphia 76ers, who again check off all of the boxes that the Houston Rockets, the San Antonio Spurs, and the Los Angeles Lakers check off, but more, as the Philadelphia 76ers financially have the space to give LeBron the max money, along with the fact that having the talent around him to compete for a championship immediately, and also they have the talented pieces that are young enough to stay relevant over the next 3 to 4 to 5 seasons. The only massive problem I see with both the Lakers and the Philadelphia 76ers is how will LeBron fit on the team with Lonzo Ball and Ben Simmons. But that still leaves us with two other teams, both of which you'll be extremely surprised to how possible it is for LeBron to join these organizations. And one of them he doesn't even have to join because he's already on, and that is the Cleveland Cavaliers. Again, I know a lot of people, they don't want to admit it, but Cleveland actually checks off a lot of the boxes that LeBron potentially will have on his list of things that he's looking for when it comes to these organizations. As they can pay him the money, it's where he and his family would like to stay, and the organization could set themselves up to be relevant for another 3 to 4 years, even as LeBron and his talents and his skills continues to tapers off as he gets older. And the one thing that I think a lot of people are casually overlooking simply because they only have the 8th pick in the draft, but I honestly believe that the Cleveland Cavaliers have a way better chance of trading Kevin Love along with that 8th overall pick to a desperate team in OKC to receive Paul George in their lineup, rather than, again, Ryan Anderson or Pau Gasol being traded, Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, or Kyle Kuzma actually taking a massive step in the right direction, or Ben Simmons being able to be a consistent shooter while playing with LeBron James. And with that in mind, in Cleveland, you could have a lineup that consists of George Hill, Rodney Hood, Paul George, LeBron James, and Tristan Thompson. And then coming off the bench, you have players such as Kyle Korver, Jordan Clarkson, Larry Nance. And even though a lot of those players didn't show up in the playoffs and in the NBA Finals, I honestly believe a lot of it has to do with the fact that they really didn't have that much time to be on the same page with one another, because a lot of those players are traded in the middle of the season. But then that still leaves us with one more team. And I know you don't want to hear this, and I don't want to hear it either, but I don't really think many people are giving them their just due to how high of a chance they have to convincing LeBron to join their roster, and that is the Golden State Warriors. And if we're being honest with ourselves, the Golden State Warriors, they check off every single box. Outside of the fact that we may not be clear on how LeBron's family feels about living in the Bay, but if we're going to be honest with ourselves, LeBron's odds of winning a championship increases pretty significantly. He fits extremely well on the team, and I really don't think they're going to fall off anytime soon, so he doesn't have to worry about his window of opportunity closing at any point. He can more than likely retire with his organization. And I know what many people are saying, that they don't have enough room to sign LeBron, which is true. However, doing a sign and trade with Draymond and Iguodala or Draymond and Klay Thompson is easily on the table, especially if you're going to put LeBron in the starting lineup. You're more than likely going to have to lose Draymond anyway. So financially speaking, they could easily add him to the roster if they're willing to do a sign and trade, losing Draymond and Iguodala or losing Draymond and Klay Thompson. But with all that being said, if I were LeBron, which I'm not, but sometimes I wish I was a 6'9" basketball god. If I were LeBron though, I would stay in Cleveland and just convince them to trade Kevin Love in that pick to go get Paul George, and then convince Paul George to stay with the Cleveland Cavaliers, which quite frankly, I don't even think that's a hard task to do. But those are just my thoughts, and I know many people have different thoughts, so let me hear it in the comment section below, and I'll see you all next time. And let's please pray and hope that LeBron does not go to the Golden State Warriors. But until next time, peace.